All right, so this is what I got going on today. I'm working on this set of drawings. It's a two-story building. This right here is the first floor, so I have the floor plan already done. You can see the stairs and stuff right here going up. You can see part of the kitchen counters right here in this area. Um, I'm going through and I'm adding all my exterior objects and my interior objects now, which would be my doors, my windows, etc. So I've started right here. Got the two garage doors up. Got my hand sketches. I'm just going through and adding the windows and stuff where they need to be. Nothing too interesting. But you can see that this is the first floor. And then I got the second floor drawing right here. So this is the second story. This is where the stairs come up. This is the master bedroom. And then there's quite a bit of other rooms up here. So you can see the master walk-in closet. This is where the bathroom and stuff is. This is what I'd call a toilet closet because there's a wall there with a door that goes to the toilet. And then there's 4 other bedrooms. This right here is another bathroom. This right here is open to the ceiling. So down here is where the main entry for the house is, and then the stairs come over and go up. So I'm working on this for a client. This is a pre-existing house, so I had to just go over there and pull just a bunch of measurements. It's a veteran, so the VA is making him do floor plans and stuff like that for the house in order to approve the VA grant that they're trying to get to upgrade this house, to make it safe and disability compliant, right? So they're talking about a chair lift up the stairs, a chair lift in the garage, because obviously this is the second story. So let me go back to the first story. This is like a mud room right here, and then through there's a platform right here, and there's a set of stairs that come down. And so what they would really want to do is they want to put a lift instead of the stairs, so they can have a wheelchair lift that goes up onto the platform and into the house. It'll be their easiest point of entry for someone, wheelchair bound. Again, the VA is kind of a difficult process to jump through the hoops to deal with them in order to get the grants. They want basically the same amount of information that you would need in order to build a brand new construction home, right? So that's what I'm doing. Is I'm doing the floor plan first, and I'm gonna get all the details in there, where the bathrooms are, the toilets are, uh, and then from there I'm gonna do another set of drawings, and I'm gonna highlight the zones that they want to do the work in, and then I have to provide details for that work, showing like the appropriate heights of the handrail mounts, the assistance bars, where the chairlift is going to go. This guy, he has a hard time seeing, so they need better lighting in the house. So I need to show not only where the current lighting is, but also where the new lighting is going to be. And then they're adding some handrail to the backyard in order to make the backyard more accessible and safe, right? I haven't drawn it yet, but this is like the concrete patio. There's a gazebo and stuff. There's a deck back here. And they want to be able to utilize this space, but right now the stairs are built and there's no handrail or anything on them. So we need to bring all that up to code, right? So that's what we're working on for this specific circumstance. A full set of prints. If I was going to design a whole new house, I would probably charge about $10,000. And then there would be an additional charge per print you wanted printed. I would provide a digital copy for free. But every print you want to print is going to cost you money. And then on top of that, I'm not an engineer. I just have a degree in design. So, I know most of the codes just because I'm a builder, so I build stuff. It doesn't mean that I know every single code in the code book, but I do have the 2018 version of the code book. Let's see. Which I had the newest version. But the thing is that this version right here has all the charts. It'll show me little pictures and stuff like that. Where applicable, right? And so I liked this version, even though it's an older version. I liked it better for what I need to do. Because mostly what I'm designing is going to be like high-end decks and things like that. So I didn't really have any use of the updated sections that were from the 2021 edition, I think is what it was. But I do have the updated IBC. So I have the updated IBC. Every once in a while, we'll run into a design that's going to be... It's still mostly decks and stairs and things, but the rules for high traffic multifamily are different than what they would be for residential. So then you're going to go off of your IBC for that, right? So this is more like commercial based design aspects that consider high traffic, etc., right? So if I was going to design something for an apartment complex per se, right? If I needed to do drawings in order to submit for permits to replace decks or something for them, then I would go off of this book right here, right? They do have charts in here. They have charts in here that are going to tell you the bearing capacity of like your joist lengths, your footings, everything that you would need to do for that. And they'll have the charts in here. I'm not going to look it up right now, but you could say like a glue lam, like a 9, or say it's a 5.5 by 9 glue lam. It'll tell you your spans that you can do, etc., etc. If you're going to be trying to design some stuff, you're going to need, and even project managers and stuff, they're supposed to have those books so they can go through and look. If there's any kind of debate, they can look into the codes prior to coming up with a solution or working with a subcontractor to find a solution. Ultimately, the main contractor and all of its managers are going to be the ones that are responsible to make a build successful, right? For the most part, subcontractors, they're building stuff off of things that are already supposed to have been taken accounting for. So if you're in a position of being responsible for the outcome of a building, you're at least going to want to have the appropriate guidelines, at your disposal, codes, right? Even if you don't know all of them, you're going to want to have that around so you can be responsible and verify things for yourself, right? So those are the two books that I personally would run into, that I would have problems with. And outside of that, I can design it. I can look up charts and design it. I could design a whole house however I want. But because I'm not a state licensed engineer, I cannot stamp any blueprints. So here, and I think most places in Washington, before you submit to the county your permits or your drawings for a permit, unless it's something that's built prescriptively and exactly to specifically what your regional code says based off of those two books, then you're going to need a pre-stamped approval by a state licensed engineer, right? So I can't do that for you. What I can do is I can design things prescriptively, one, and two, I can have a good general idea of how it needs to be put together, and I can put that in my design. And then I would take my drawings to an engineer, to a structural, and he would do the calculations for certain factors, right? Wind factors. That might determine where my strapping needs to be located from my foundation to my walls. It might tell me how many straps I need to have, right? It's going to tell me the load calculations for every bearing component in the house. It's going to tell me if I need a bigger beam or any of those type of things. So as far as doing costs, for me, if I'm going to design you a whole house, then I charge about $10,000. Outside of that, you're going to have your permit costs, and you're going to have your engineer stamp cost, and your stamp and your review by a structural is going to cost you between $800 and $1,500. And the price for the permitting of your project is going to depend on the size and the scope of the work involved in the project. But it's safe to assume that it's going to cost you at least $2,500. So in order for you to get a set of blueprints custom designed through me, plus permits, plus structural engineer, you're looking in the ballpark sum of $15,000 to $20,000 total all-in costs, with some variance, maybe higher or lower, right? So I just wanted to give a rundown of how that might work. In this particular case, I'm not designing this whole house. We're not having an engineer review anything. They're already trying to file for VA grants, so they're already on a limited budget. I was willing to do this for this guy for $2,500. So I'm going and pulling all the numbers for every object in the house. You can see I did several little hand sketches, sketched out rough site plan. This is their cul-de-sac, etc., etc. I got several different sketches, kitchen sketch, first floor. I got the garage separately by itself. Second story. I also gave myself some rough sketches somewhere of the 4 elevations, which I'm not really going to need these either. But there was some little things like how this is shifted and it's kind of cantilevered over the back. Kind of a unique property. So I was making sure that I was expressing that to myself in order for my drawings to be accurate. I've tried in the past to show a little bit of stuff about this AutoCAD. Doesn't seem like too many people were that interested in it. Again, I don't really do a lot of edits. I'm a one take guy, so I'm not editing out any background sound. My setup here is to be able to watch my TV, sit down comfortably, multitask, hear what the kids got going on in the house, this, that, and the other. And I'm not editing any of that out. This is one take. I'm sharing my thoughts. I try to share little bits and pieces of information. And at some point, I would like to start sharing my experiences from a business perspective, not just trying to show little tricks of the trade. I've survived now as a business for 6, about to be going into my 7th year. I think I have a lot of knowledge to share on one, establishing yourself, 2, kind of stabilizing out, and then 3, trying to scale up from there, right? So I am going to try to get a series to try to be helpful to people that are thinking about jumping into the trades as a business owner, right? It's kind of a different ball game. No matter how long you've been a lead for another company, it's a whole different thing when you jump into business and now you're 100% responsible for whether you're successful or not. So I am going to try to get a series going that's geared towards that. I'm still going to post a lot of progress videos. I'll still try to share some on-site building knowledge and things like that. But I think I'll reach a wider audience if I'm putting out content that is helpful more for business owners and things like that. I think there's already been a lot of people that have made content about building and each of its processes. I don't see a whole lot of people actually trying to coach the business aspect of construction, right? So I'll kind of get a background of my own situation, where I started, how I came from, and all that stuff, maybe in the first video of that series. And then we'll go from there and we'll see what kind of reactions we get. I'm not a multi-million-dollar contractor or anything like that, but I do all right. I'm kind of working my way up to trying to sell more of my own designs, more of my own projects, but I spend about 50% of my time building for other people. That's kind of just like the guaranteed work, no matter how your own personal sales go. When you have relationships with other builders, when your quality is good, when your reliability is good, you're always going to have some kind of work, right? So, I'm a little bit more than a jack of all trades. I don't think it's typical for people to do more than one trade all the way from design to finish. Like I said, I'm designing, I'm building decks, I'm framing houses, I'm siding houses, I'm roofing houses, I'm managing full exterior projects, custom outdoor kitchens, custom party spaces. And really, I'm kind of phasing out the smaller jobs. I don't want to run around and do 50 jobs a year in order to get the kind of revenue that I want to get. So I'm starting to gear myself more towards only doing maybe 4 of my own sales a year, and then maybe only doing like 10 projects for other people, right? We get to partake in some pretty fun projects for some other people, and I don't really want to stop doing that. It's kind of fun sometimes when you don't have to have the pressure of your own sales, even though the pricing is going to be less significant than when you're doing your own sales. It can be really refreshing sometimes when all you have to do is show up and build it. A lot less stressful when you're only focused on one particular task at that time. You know, if you're just framing the house, or even like sometimes we do the framing, siding, roofing. That's kind of cool too, because again, you're only having to focus on one aspect of that build at a time. Instead of doing this and managing all this extra stuff on top of it. That's kind of where I'm at with that. And that's, you know, like I said, if I could do 10 other projects for other people, you know, I enjoy doing medium-sized houses. We're a smaller crew, so I operate with me and 2 people that work with me. Everything else that I do is kind of subcontracted out, right? So all my bookkeeping and everything, I'm using a CPA. Sometimes I use outside sales sources. Sometimes I use outside marketers. Whatever I can do on my budget to alleviate the amount of work that I have to personally take on, the responsibility that I'm taking on in order to manage a project start to finish. Because it's a lot, right? When you have to go out, you have to do the marketing, you have to go out, you have to do the sales, you have to go out, you have to do the design, you have to go out, hire the subcontractors, you have to go out, do the building that you do in-house, and all these different layers that you have to partake in order to successfully run a construction company, right? There's quite a bit to it. Again, some of these videos that I'm uploading, like these are just thoughts that are coming to me. These are just kind of things that have been going around in my head. And so I'm not trying to ramble on. I'm just kind of speaking and thinking out loud, and maybe looking for feedback. So if you drop some feedback in the comments and kind of just let me know why you're interested in construction videos and maybe what you would like to see, what would be helpful to you, whether that's learning a new trick in building, whether that's looking for another perspective on how to run your business. Let me know, and I'll try to upload some content that's going to be helpful to that end, right? Anyways, I'm going to sign off for now. I'm going to get back to this design. And I got dogs barking and all sorts of stuff in the background. So anyways, thanks for watching.